So I see AC2 will come out, I think tomorrow or tonight, American time, or tomorrow, I think.
It should be soon, because
So I've just binged. I've just binged season 1 and season 2 of Jack Ryan, bro.
oh no, did you? Is it good? Hold on a second. Did you? Like, is it good?
Season 1 was epic. Season 2 seemed, I don't know, a bit flat compared to season 1.
Weird. My dad said the same thing.
Like season 1 had a better connecting story. Season 2 just seemed very disjointed. A lot of just random things that don't make sense, just trying to connect together. It seemed like a very rushed story.
Shit. Plus, I heard, because I haven't seen it yet, I heard, the girl that obviously, he sort of was seeing from the first season, he doesn't even see her in this one, like the
No,
second one.
correct. Correct.
Oh,
And then a person that dies in the first. Oh, wait. I shouldn't tell you.
yeah.
There's a character, like a real life character, whatever her name is. She dies. Her character dies in season 1, but then she pops up as a new character in season 2. It just feels weird.
That's weird.
Like they've just recycled the same actor. That's odd, right?
Well, yeah.
Is it odd? That's odd.
I don't know. I don't know where they did that. Oh, um, it was like, have you ever seen Starship Troopers 1, 2, and 3?
Oh, you're going way back now.
Yeah, but do you know they reused that woman that used to be like from the first movie? She was the captain of the what was it, the Jolly Roger, with
Okay.
Denise Richards and whatever, and then I think it's either in 2 or 3 they reuse her again as a different soldier. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's odd, isn't it?
Ah, it's just fucking weird, dude. It's disjointed and strange.
Oh, is this season? Wait, is this season 3 of Jack Ryan?
No, I think we have to wait for it.
2020. It says season 3, episode 1.
What?
On IMDb. Don't know if it's real.
Don't think so. Because I haven't even heard of them filming for season 3 yet. But that's weird how they didn't have that girl from the first movie in the second
Yeah,
season.
man. I thought that was going to be, his love interest going forward.
Love interest, bang interest, whatever it may be. But yeah, that's
Hey, man.
weird.
Man's got to eat, man.
Man's got a bang. Dude. Okay.
Yes, sorry.
No,
Back
no,
on.
it's not even. It's no, 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 no. Just this really perfect segue, because like altered carbon, right? You didn't tell me how many dicks and like vaginas I was gonna see.
Yeah, it does. It caught me by surprise. I knew it was going to be a cyberpunky, sort of gritty sort of TV show, like I love Blade Runner. And I knew that Altered Carbon was going to have that same feel to it.
I sure as heck didn't expect that. Like, I just didn't expect to see like literally full frontal like dick and some ass and titties, and I kind of didn't think that they would go that far.
Yeah, and for a Netflix gig, they're following the HBO path. That's for sure. But
Well,
visually, I couldn't believe how awesome it was. Just dark and gritty, yet the technology and the whole premise of consciousness that can be uploaded into a single disc or whatever they wanted to call it.
the stack.
The stack, that was pretty cool.
It was like a mixture between, what is it? Man, Ghost in the Shell and The Matrix and all sorts of stuff. Like there was a lot of ideas there that I thought at first, I think in the first maybe 2 or 3 episodes, it was like a big, 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 a lot of stuff going in it, and then all of a sudden it sort of just clicks and it sort of just makes sense. But the first 2 or 3 episodes, I was like so lost.
There is a lot to absorb early on. I think the first episode was like, okay, wow, what am I getting into here?
That's the thing though, and then it sort of grips you if you decide to do like a binge session, which I did. I binged all 10 episodes in like 4 days, um, and then yeah, that was insane. So for a TV series, it's hard to not give them any, what do we call it? You can't really give them any like negative reviews or anything like that because there's a lot of work that went into it.
Yeah, and probably a good reason why it's voted pretty high. I'm pretty sure um, most reviews of it were pretty solid, man. 60, 70, 80.
Is it?
Yeah, well, from what I remember, IMDb had it rated pretty high.
I'm gonna have a double check of that now actually. Okay, 8.1.
Yeah, out of 10. That's pretty good
Yeah, definitely for a TV series. Yeah, that's
for a TV show. A lot of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are just, solid, man. 4 or 5 stars. I think the biggest thing, the most addictive thing about it was the fact that the main lead, Takeshi Kovacs, Joel Kinnaman, he has got some flair on him, doesn't he?
At first I kind of
Swagger.
okay. Well, yeah, because he kind of walks as if like he's just done like a gym session. He walks like with those shoulders out and shit. Like at first, he was really hard to like because in some of the movies that he's done, one with Liam Neeson, like back a couple of years ago, and then he did RoboCop, that sort of reboot PG-13. I'm just like, oh, he's kind of just it's just I don't know. He didn't really rank high with me, and I remember I wanted to watch Altered Carbon like years ago when it came out, and he kind of just sort of turned me off. And now that I've watched, I'm just like, okay, it's really cool that he's sort of stepped up to the plate, and he just looks really good doing it. And I mean, like, not just because of his looks and his physique, but at the same time, he brought a lot of um, I think a lot of not flair, but he sort of that's hard to play somebody who's Asian but trapped in a white body. Let's not forget. This is when I first the first couple of episodes I'm like, "Oh man, this is like typical whitewashing. Like it's an Asian character or Japanese character, Asian. And then now he's stuck in a gaijin white guy's body."
Yeah, well, that's true. And but I did like how they sort of pieced that together and still kept it true to who he was, even though he was on a different sleeve.
Exactly. And the whole idea of sleeves and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like you could
Could that be
honestly,
the way of the future?
that's a scary thing that you could live the idea of living forever. And obviously, this definitely feels as if like I should be still looking into that book of, I think, what was it? The science fiction book of I Dream of Sheep or something. I can't remember. It was a book that was mainly used by the Wachowski brothers for, I think, the actors for The Matrix. Some science fiction book. I've completely forgot about it, but that's where I think it interprets here, where like, yeah, you could just change into different sleeves, be a girl, be a boy, be a man, be a whatever, and that really tripped me out, man. It's so trippy, like the whole terminology as well. Like it's just a sleeve. You just fit in, or a re-sleeve. You just get another body.
Yeah, just it just goes back to show that if you want to reference the Matrix, man, the body is just a battery, just another vessel.
The other thing I thought, in terms of how it felt underrated in terms of the TV series, was the really poignant. narration that he would have when he's talking about life and how humans are pretty ugly. You know what I mean? It's like he's narrating the human condition and humans in general, where what was it? The love interest, which is Falconer, Quill Falconer. She already knows that the creation of the sleeves or the creation of the stacks and all that stuff is just going to lead the human race into um, a more bigger gap between the rich and the poor, or more like the gap of the greedy and the greedy and the wealthy against the poor and who are on the ground. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's you immediately sort of see that when they've got the commoners living down below in the slums, I suppose, and you get all the rich folk living on fancy islands and
they call them grounders, and then the ones that are up, the ones that are up high, like the rich. They're called meths, short for
the nets. Yes.
Methuth. I know the full word, I just can't say it. Like Methusalems. But yeah, they're short for meths. Um,
Did they actually say the full word in the?
no, I don't think so.
It's always referred to as myths.
Yeah, I actually had to look up IMDb and sort of just do a bit of background check. I'm like, okay, I can't remember if they've actually said the full word. And I was like, what does meth stand for? Obviously, it's not meth addicts, but it's Methusalems or whatever, where it's just the old word of the rich or the powerful that live up in the sky and stuff. I was just like, oh, that's damn damn accurate in terms of how they portray it in Altered Carbon. And what we've talked about now is just not even just scratching the surface in terms of story, because if I had to jump ahead, we never get told, right? Because I'm pretty fresh off the TV series. I know you've seen it, maybe a couple of weeks ago or whatever, but we never got to get the reveal of why he can see through like the chosen, not the yeah, why can he see through the walls like the chosen one from the Matrix?
Yes, that's right. I mean, look, he was trained as a soldier in his past, but how he gets that sort of sensory thing, yeah, does remain a bit of a mystery. It's
Yeah,
sort of implied. It's sort of implied that it was part of his training as a soldier, but is it a trait? Is it a skill? Is it something extra that he's been programmed with as part of, being a soldier?
that's actually, I actually was thinking about the same thing, and I'm just like, wait, if he was part of, because he had to save his sister, um, she went off to the Yakuza and he went off to join up as the Protectorate. And was that sort of like exactly, was it a trait or was it a skill or whatever? And then when he betrayed the Protectorate and decided to join um, what's it called? The envoys with Falconer and DeSoto, which was a DeSoto. The guy's a white guy, DeSoto. Um, but yeah, I was just like, where did he pick up that skill? And it was really good to see as well that there was I forgot to mention this about the Asian representation, about that guy who played as the original body of the character, Takeshi. And I don't know why they call him Kovacs.
Yeah, so it is an odd hybrid sort of name, isn't it? Takeshi Kovacs.
I would have thought it was Kovacs, Kovacs, but they call it Kovacs, and I'm like, Vach. I don't know what's going on there. But I like that the Asian representation there was put through, and I've completely forgotten the actors' names.
Well, that's right, and they do avoid, like, I didn't feel like there was any. sort of racism, or as you said, whitewashing, or stereotype sort of views on there. Both characters seemed to have their place in the timeline, present and past.
Yeah, 250 years.
Yeah, which is unreal.
Right? That's possibly the best word to describe it. It's just unreal. I was just like, damn, especially from the first episode where he gets completely annihilated, thinking that we don't know about the stacks and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden he just wakes up in freaking Alcatraz and it's 250 years later. I'm just like, good God.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The fact that you just sort of thrown into the future and what the what that Blade Runner sort of future looks like, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely with the cart and the guns as well, which we didn't really see too much of. Mainly pistol work, but not a lot of like rifles and all that stuff. But yeah, it was definitely harking back to Blade Runner. And the one thing of what I also wanted to ask you was, what did you feel about the character Ortega, which was the Spanish cop? What did you think about her?
I don't think she was Spanish, man. I believe she was Mexican.
Was it Mexican?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
because they celebrate Day of the Dead, right?
that's true. That's true.
My bad.
Uh, but I don't know. Yeah, look, do they speak Mexican, Spanish, Cuban? I'm not sure, but
I know they did. Yeah, they were definitely speaking it because the one thing that I also liked about the series was they go in and out of languages when they want to. Like the first time in the first episode where we see Takeshi and then his mentor Jaeger, and Jaeger goes in between English and German like it was nothing, and they all understand it. And I'm just like, that's pretty cool. That the future, everyone knows what what else somebody else is talking about, like as well as Ortega and then her partner Aboud. He's speaking in Arabic and she's speaking, yeah, I thought it was Spanish, but could be Portuguese, but
yeah.
or, you
Well,
know.
it was interesting because they even sort of threw in a you know whatever form of Latina she was sort of representing. It was interesting to sort of see how the religion part of it really, really stuck through the whole way.
Oh, right, where they were talking about
From
like,
from her mum, and you see her father sort of passes, and he's sort of is her father or her grandma, and they're
grandma.
sort of the grandma, and there's a religious sort of they still have ethics. They If you are of a, I guess, a religious option, you're not able to be re-sleeved.
Yeah, it's like as if like they get put into like some sort of coded vault, and then it's like
Yeah,
considered as not death, but almost like a retirement. Because the really interesting thing that another point that I was wanting to commend the show on is where they call it real death or RD.
RD.
So like your stack where it's like that little disc, it's in the back of your neck and I think it's in your spine or something, or it's just what a weird placement, but it makes sense. Kind of reminds me of Attack on Titan. Um the nape, you destroy that and you're
Yes,
dead.
yes. Slice it open.
Sliced. And then in this case if you get shot by like a laser gun, but yeah, so that's a actually you make a really good point where there's the religious aspect on it, or the religious stacks, or the religious coding, where even though she's brought back her grandmother in the body of some white old guy with a massive beard, and then he's
Tattoos and
tattoos and all that stuff,
piercings.
and invited the grandmother back for dinner for Day of the Dead, and then she's like, no, I don't want to come back. I don't spin me back up. It's pretty much over. And I was just like, what a weird sort of sensation that must be. Like you're always asleep, or if you're not connected to the virtual world as well. They talk about VR. Oh my God, it's just the possibilities of like living is just insane.
That's right. But you know, it's funny that they still adhere to the religious sort of code, yet everything else seems normal. That you can re-sleeve at will. That you can, you know, copy your stacks. You can collect stacks. You can all that sort of gear. Yet they still hold their religious sort of ethics and stuff. That's interesting. But I think near the end, they do mention that they were changing the laws to, um, I guess, remove that restriction.
Yeah, with the religious coding as well as the idea of those who those who are murdered can be respun up again and testify
That's
against their accusers, for sleeve murder or whatever it is. And I think it was called Act 653 or something like that, which Bancroft, that British guy, um,
yes.
had fought so hard to get rid of. And then yeah, he was just more of a he ended up being, well, uh, kind of miserable. Him and his wife, like they were like upper echelon people, and just the things that they had mastered in terms of getting what they want or
Yeah, living in
stuff.
their own Silicon Valley, man.
Oh my God, it's not even Silicon Valley. It's just more like it's like Orange County times 12 or the OC times 100 or something. It's just disgustingly gross. Like, do you remember when there were um if where was he? Takeshi had to. I think it was the first time he was going up there, and he was walking around, and they were all having I think it was either a Siberian leopard or a tiger.
Yes, yeah, the leopard or the tiger. Yes, they were just eating it like because they had money.
Yeah, dude.
The rich, that's how they live.
Yeah, it was kind of gross, and I
The
and I like
myths, the
the Mets. Yeah, Methuselah's,
Methuselahs.
Methuselah's. Like totally agree. Where it's just yeah, just the way that they depict that, and then you just go, oh, it's the rich do that now, where they hold those lavish parties, or when they want to start elections or whatever, and that's how they get donation funds. They have to run these big, I don't know, these dinners. It's just a lot of kiss ass. It's kind of
Yeah, well,
gross.
they live in the sky. They live above the commoners, the poor. They're wealthy. They're immortal because they can re-sleeve. They have money. They they think of themselves as gods.
That's it, right? That's true. They think of themselves as gods, and because they could just keep going and going and going, and that's the part where I just thought that must be tiring. Like you just want to.
Well, they have the number one commodity, sleeves. No one can afford sleeves. You see that they use sleeves as a bargaining chip throughout the whole series. They sort of use it as leverage. If you do this for me, I'll re-sleeve you, or fight in my Hunger Games sort of format. And if you die, it's all good. We'll re-sleeve you.
Oh, the gravity arena. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pretty cool.
But pretty gross too. Like you're right. I almost forgot that. Yeah, he was wanting to. He's like, look, if you could. It was supposed to be a, what was it, a couple, and they wanted
Yeah,
to
husband and wife. Yeah,
husband
they
and wife.
pit them against each other to kill them both. And if one kills the other, they'd both get a new sleeve.
Something like that, yeah. Or I think it was the right to get an upgraded sleeve or something between the both of them. And then he upped the stakes by throwing in Takeshi to fight. And he's like, if you kill him, then both of you get upgrades. I'm just like, oh man, this is actually kind of heavy. And speaking of heavy, the violence,
Yes, definitely.
dude.
It's
Oh,
it's in your face. Um, you know, just go go go. There's not a lot of color. It's all very dark, heavy.
And it's not just the violence as well. It's almost the context that goes behind that violence, where um, they're not afraid to actually say, rape, uh, death, race leaving, and all that stuff. And then the inhibitions of those who are just the most disgusting of like you would look at them and go, oh, he's a rich guy and he could have anything he wants, but deep down inside, he's just got this sick tendency to kill people. And in this particular world where he kills slaves, like what is it, the head in the cloud?
Yes.
So head in the cloud, where it just fulfills all your fantasy, and then they say, oh, do you want a child? That's that I remember I grimaced at that. I was just like, oh, that's actually really heavy.
Well, yeah, but that's the reality, right? When you have wealth, nothing is beyond nothing is beyond you. You can buy anything and everything, which just goes to show that sometimes that society, man, can take everything else for granted.
It's pretty gross because, I mean, what I was also going to add in is that for those who are the upper echelon, they live in a different world. They think differently. They don't, it's like, what is it, like Hollywood itself? Hollywood, you live in a different world. Like, they don't give a shit about most of the stuff that happens in the world. All they just think about is making deals, cracking cash, and maybe what's going to be the next big thing, and whatever. So it's a different world, and I think Ricky Gervais was talking about that. And even ranting. You remember he did that introduction to, what was it, the Grammys or something, or um,
Yes.
and he just completely obliterated everybody. And I was just like, oh, that takes some balls. But at the same time, I'm just like, it's true. Like, I don't watch any of those award shows because it's just a bunch of like people just, patting each other's backs and giving each other like, verbal blowjobs and saying, yeah, that was really great. Oh, I loved your work in that and stuff like that. And I was just like, it's just, it doesn't really relate to me. It's a different world.
Well, that's right. I guess, and that's the challenge, right? I guess the between the heavy violence and the, as you mentioned earlier, the graphic nudity and just the sex themes. It's a pretty, yeah. You've got to sort of sit down, take it take it all in. There's a lot of exploits that they sort of dark exploits that they sort of explore and go through. Some would think that, you know, most people darkest
Desires.
thoughts, desires, man. They've just built a whole series on them.
That's actually another really great word to describe it. There's a lot of exploitation in it. I was just like,
Yeah.
God damn, that is,
Or just the concept of re-sleeving itself. Humans are a resource. You're exploiting the human body. Humans, you're just re-sleeving from one to another. When you die, if you're poor, you just get thrown. Someone might buy you. If you're rich, you can clone yourself and, re-sleeve at will.
oh my God. And then double sleeving. Oh
Double
man.
sleeving? Yeah, that's hectic.
Oh, oh, that's insane. Yeah. It
That's a
just,
whole new level of data corruption, and data backup, man. You've got two stacks running at the same time with uh, different memories. That's unreal.
what also is unreal is the communications as well through the Oni, which is through your eye, and you take phone calls through that, and whatever. And just that, I think, is like, what did Google have? The Google the Google Glass, or they used to call people glass holes or something years ago when that thing happened. Do you remember?
Nah, I'm not familiar with that, man.
It was like a monocle, right? Jesus, it was like a monocle where you wear it, and um one side, it's like glasses, right? But only one. You
Yeah,
remember now?
almost like something out of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh my God, like the data reader or some shit.
Yeah, the power reader. But yeah, the ONI, man. But that's an acronym for something, right? I'm not.
I
I
can't
would have
remember,
thought. Okay. Oh yeah, optical neural interface. There we go.
but it's such a sick thing. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, no doubt.
I won't be surprised if somebody's trying to work on something like that. But that was a nice touch to a future where he just wakes up and it's like it's all different. It's literally 250 years into the future.
Well, that makes sense. It has to make sense. It's part of that time where we're so far in the future.
The thing is, I don't think he had an Oni in the first one where he in the first episode when he gets gunned down. So I'm just like, but he did have those powers.
That's right. Or we could sort of
The incoming
sense them
threat.
coming. Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, this guy's like the one. The other thing that God, there's way too much to talk about. Because I just came off it quite recently. Um, dude, the sister, the sister.
Yes, that was a very welcome twist
Oh
that
my
she pops up
god.
mid-episode and mid-season rather.
Well, yeah,
And hey, surprise! I'm still alive.
yeah, and then which you think would be, you know, you're right, a great reunion and whatever. But then you just look at his past, and they start exposing the past a little bit more with him and Falconer, and why does he like her, and blah blah blah. And then just to see the sister just be so obsessive, it was so anime at one stage. It was like, oh god, this is like something out of a anime. I've seen this before.
How wicked was that scene where Ortega was locked in the room of clones?
Oh my god, that was actually really. It just reminded me of God. It reminded me of something. I've seen something like that similar. Where yeah, they just break out and just keep attacking. That was actually really pretty crazy actually.
Unreal, that whole scene, and then the fallout afterwards, where she sort of skins herself into Ortega's body, and goes and sees Kovacs
Oh
and
yeah, and yeah. That was
tries to weasel into him, but he catches on.
yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, you took you longer than expected." I'm like, man, this woman is just obsessive.
Nothing, yeah, no boundaries. She's just she is living above everyone else in her own world. But when you look at her motive and reason behind it, I guess they both were raised from nothing. They had a rough upbringing. She's decided to take all the opportunities that have come up and I guess, yeah, live to the best of her ability.
Well, yeah, she created a massive conglomerate. She created Head in the Clouds, and built up all those resources, and even um, tricked Bancroft into, finding out, the answer to his questions. But the thing that I just realized now is that Ortega in the first like 5 or 6 episodes had a massive obsession with Kovacs, and then you find out why, because Kovacs is in Riker's sleeve, and then and then it all made sense and a massive twist because I actually got very annoyed with her by about I think beginning of episode 4, and her obsession was just annoying the shit out of me. I was just like, what is going on? And then they revealed it. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good reason to be obsessed because you're the person that you loved. They were on ice. He's stuck away. I think his stack was coded to be locked away and for whatever amount of years that he had to serve, incarcerated. And then yeah, his sleeve was just in Alcatraz, and then they just, yeah, they managed to manipulate the sleeve for Kovacs. because you remember that the government said that, oh, when you come out of Alcatraz, you just get one free slave, and then that guy that
Yeah,
wanted his daughter was like this old woman.
yeah. You don't have a choice. You get what you're given.
That's the one. So her obsession, Ortega's obsession, reminded me of the obsession of the sister, but the sister was just like almost 10 times, 15 times worse. I was just, oh, it was. I mean, I can understand it a little bit theoretically, but I would have thought that she would have just. It was almost bordering incest. You know what I mean?
Um, I guess
Because
simply
she was
because
jealous. She was jealous because of Falconer.
yes, and I guess look, what was really her motive behind there for being so protective? Was she being protective, or was she sort of crazy?
I think she was a little bit crazy because even though that they had made the promise when they were young after he had killed the dad, or the stepdad or whoever, like he did, uh it was out of his I don't know, his reach, or he didn't have a choice when he had to be drafted into the protectorate, which he eventually did. But Jaeger lied to him. Jaeger said that she'll be put into a good family. Instead, she was thrown to the Yakuza.
Well, that's right, and then that's where I guess his motive changes, and his drive to get revenge, comes in. But you don't really see her apart from understanding their past, and you can see why she's sort of become a person of power. You don't sort of see why she is so
Obsessive.
protecting of Kovacs. Yeah,
I just wish I was waiting for him at one stage just to tell her, look, it's not my fault that you went into the Yakuza. Uh, that was Jaeger. He told me that you would go into a good family, but I think he did say something along those lines, but uh, it just wasn't the full thing. And I wish he could have explained that because it was just out of his control. Where he was just this kid, he was in VR, and then they were going to put him into a sleeved body to train, and then he was finally awarded, I think, his birth sleeve, what they called the birth sleeve. Um, and then yeah, he got his own body back when they returned back to that world. Um, I just wish he could have said something like that because I don't know, maybe that would have lessened the hurt or something because her obsession with him just became, I think, borderline incest because yes, there's no kissing, yes, there's no there's no physical or like intimacy other than the head touch. But other than that, it was just why that obsession and why get mad jealousy in terms of who he loves and whatnot. And she killed Falconer and she tried to kill Ortega, and I was just like, man, you gotta like chillax, lady.
I know, right? From being a sort of underprivileged sort of kid, growing up rough through the Yakuza, she then becomes what would you call her, an entrepreneur or a powerful,
Mogul,
sort of mogul, crime boss,
crime
crime
boss, crime
lord,
lord.
established head of the clouds, which, yeah, as you said, meth's just, high society. She's raking it in. That's why she can afford to do everything.
But it's just, I just don't. Well, I do, but understand a little bit about her, but it just fails a little bit to me in terms of not the questions not being answered, but I just wonder what made her so sick and twisted.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
That remains a mystery, I suppose. You don't sort of get too much of a backstory, just enough.
just enough, exactly, and that's the way it should be. Because obviously
Yeah,
this,
she's not the main. I guess she's not a main thread in the story, I suppose.
but she is definitely what is it called? sort of like a partner in the story, long running part of the story. Because I know that Altered Carbon came from a book as well, so I do want to see what I do want to read that and see what her motives are if they explain it. Because she just became so sick and twisted, and it kind of also reminded me of, in a sense, in the last two episodes, where it's almost as if like she was doing everything because she misses Tack and da da da, and she wants them to be together. But I'm like, be together in what way? To rule the galaxy or to rule the clouds? Like it almost felt very Star Wars-ish, where forget Darth Vader, it was between Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker, where Skywalker's gone off to a different path, and then Leia has just become this thing. Obviously, that's not the case, but it just felt as if like she was kind of beckoning him at one stage, like playing her final trump card, where she goes, "Oh, I know where Falcon is."
Well, that's right. Yeah, and I guess maybe she just wanted to become this stronger sort of this stronger person with no ties to anyone but her brother. She doesn't trust anyone else. She's, made a lot of friends, made a lot of enemies. Maybe she's smart enough, or I guess not naive anymore. She's, very intelligent. You can tell, she's come from nothing and built this whole empire. She's a skilled swordsman. She can fight. She's got money,
Influence.
influence, definitely. But yeah, it's. I mean, siblings, man. You have siblings. I have siblings. I don't feel that my love for my siblings is that sort of romantic. It felt very romantic, didn't it? That her and Kovacs, like even though she didn't make out with him or anything, it just felt like there was not just a romantic sort of attraction there, but a very obsessive attraction. Yeah.
Yeah, mentally as well. That's what I was saying. Exactly what I agree. It's almost the same, if not the same, of what I was saying before. So that's where
Yeah.
I'm
Sort of borderline incestuous.
borderline. Yeah, that's where I was just like in the last two episodes, I just couldn't understand it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe it's good that I don't understand it because sometimes those kind of reasons are born out of survival, are born out of whatever, that she didn't have any
Yeah.
family,
Life
and
experiences. Yeah.
yeah, 250 years to build that up, and then create clones illegally and do everything, all the shady dealings, and then even.
But don't get me wrong. She obviously loves her brother.
But man, she lost her
I guess
humanity along the way, though.
that's right. I mean, I guess her brother saved them from, being beaten up every day and who knows what else.
That too, yeah. He did that sacrificing, and then she was, I don't know, maybe wanting to return the favor at one point. But I just thought, again, where I think her obsession or her goals were, God, just the journey to get to that in terms of that final episode, I was just like, wow, it couldn't have gone any more wrong in terms of the execution because she just became so. Unfortunately, I feel sick and twisted. And even let's not forget hiring the Ghost Walker. Oh my God,
Yeah, he was here. He could just vanish between shots.
vanish between the Oni, vanish between surveillance cameras. Are you a believer? Like, oh my God.
But I guess going back to the sister, is she dead? That's the
That's a,
question, man.
that's actually a really good question because
I mean, you don't see him. They
shoot the
give.
stack.
That's right. They give a bit of privacy there. But is she dead? I mean, they said that they stopped her backup, but she does have backups. Who controls her backups?
Oh my God. And let's not forget that we haven't even talked about the co-stars. So how great is it that um but I should answer that question first. Yes, it's a mystery, and I won't be surprised if we see her in season two. But I'm holding my tongue because that would be awesome. But with the co-stars and stuff, man, we didn't even mention about the family, the Elliots. You know the Elliots, like the black guy who was the army medic,
Oh
and
yes,
then
I remember. Yeah. Yep.
and then how how interesting and how quick it was for me.
Lizzie and Vernon.
Lizzie and Lizzie, Vernon, and Ava. Ava was the
Ava.
wife.
That's right. Yeah, the daughter. Yes.
No, no, no.
No. Ava was the mum. Lizzie was the daughter.
Lizzie
Sorry.
was the daughter. That's the one. Yeah. No, no, it's all cool. So, yeah, I think the dynamic of those three, that was really interesting as well. And let's not forget Poe. Jesus, Poe. Wow,
Oh yeah, he was one of my favorites.
what a likable character. Jesus.
Very, very likable.
Like, because I didn't understand at first how he could touch people and be there and hands things to people and whatever, and then I realized that his hotel, the AI hotel, he's just made up of
He's the
some sort
AI
of.
hologram. Yeah.
No, no, he's not a hologram. He's made up of some sort of matter. Like every time that he shrinks and disappears and appears somewhere else, it's like some sort of like matter. Because you remember where he unfortunately was like derezzed. I say derezzed as a Tron
Depressed.
derezzed, but like you
Yeah,
remember
the
his
way he
hand
dies
exactly,
painfully.
exactly, and I found out that he was apparently quoting Edgar Allan Poe from one of his books as he died, but or Derezed. But yeah, he left that sort of like crumblish hand on the counter. It looked like sand.
Yeah, he was no doubt one of the most likable characters in the show.
Oh yeah. Plus the amount of stuff that he could do, and again, sort of that Matrix thing, where it's like, hey, so how do you think, like, how quick can you be up to speed about doing, psychosurgery and psychotherapy, and done
That's right. The
so
fact that he could
quick.
just he could just do all of those things at a whim.
And of course, we can't forget, just that fact of, so do you want to have the full experience, like at the very beginning? Oh my god. And then he's just like at the back of the counter, just like just unloading with a shotgun. I'm like, man, this guy's. You just knew that this guy was going to be an integral part of the series, and you're right. I definitely. He just acted. Actually, the weird thing is he acted more human than Kovacs.
Correct. His decision making, his I guess his emotions, his sincerity. He was very true to his job. He was true to his customers.
He was a shit poker player though.
Yeah. What did he have? Some crippling gambling debt.
That and just that he sucks at poker. So I'm just like, how could you lose at poker? And then I realized who he was up against. I'm like, oh, those other AI are quite strong,
Yeah.
like OP strong.
He does take out his revenge
Yeah.
on some of them.
Well, using the rolling virus, what an absolutely devastating virus. That if it's implanted into you and your stack, it is just going to make it's literally a virus. It affects you and you start killing other people or stuff. It just corrupts your system.
Yeah, that's something out of Resident Evil, man. You just sort of go all frenzy, all feral.
Yeah, essentially, yes. Well, that's true. Yeah, that's actually a really good analogy. Yeah, that's true. But that's more, yeah, well, yeah, it is a virus. But yes, I agree. Um, I think also just to mention, just we should mention the Elliots. Like, I think the, what was it, Vernon? What a cool character.
Vernon, Lizzie, yeah, Vernon, yeah,
But I think out of the three of them, Lizzie was very sort of like a little bit SJW, like using violence begets violence, and she was strong, and she came in to rescue them at sort of like at the end of the day. But I really liked between the Elliots, the one that stood out the most was Ava, I think for me, and she didn't even have a big screen time or anything like that in the story. But when she was there in that guy's body, I was just like, at first I kind of chuckled, and even though this series there's not a lot of humor in it, I did chuckle a little bit. But then it became really for me heartwarming at the like when she meets him, and he's just like Ava, because obviously she's in a different sleeve. She's not in her birth sleeve. Eventually, she does get into her birth sleeve, but just the fact that I don't know. I just really like
Yeah,
that
because her
chemistry.
her original sleeve is she was captured and sent to jail, wasn't she?
Something like that.
Because of her background. She's a hacker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She
She's
was
a
a really
hacker,
good
and I
hacker.
think, yeah, yeah, yeah. But how funny is it that where you first sort of hear about Ava at the very respectable dwelling of Jack It Off.
Oh, that's right. Oh, or there's another place
It's a
called
very
Prick Up.
fine establishment.
Yeah, the establishment called Jacket Off, and then the other
Jack It
establishment
Off.
called Prick Up.
Yes, yes.
Oh my
Prick Up.
God.
Now that is, yeah. Now that they are good names. If only they could exist in today's society.
I don't think it'll even pass like business standards. It's like it's like here, like in Melbourne, and it's just like King Street's obviously got all the strippers and all that stuff. It's like, oh, it's not even a classy name. It's just seedy. It's just like, oh, let's just go to
It's yeah, you exactly. When you see that place, you know exactly what you're going in.
exactly. It's not even ashamed. It's not even like a little sprinkle of sugar like the Gentleman's Club or what is it? The whatever name that's up in King Street, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, come to Prick Up. You know exactly what you're getting when you walk in through the doors. It's like it's like, oh god, Prick Up and Jack It Off.
Yeah,
Uh,
seminal. They're seminal. Good
it,
names. I like it. Thumbs up to that.
yeah, it's just no subtlety whatsoever. And I do want to go on about that a little bit in a second. But what I was going to say was is that I really liked Ava and Vernon, and when they reunited, it was just like, oh, he hasn't seen her in a long time, and what's
Yeah,
happened to
she's very
Lizzie.
loving. She's very personable. Even though it's weird
That she's in the man's
understanding
body.
her when she's in a different skin,
Yeah.
but you sort of quickly see past that, and you can see that she is, she is the mum, and
Oh my god.
despite being a criminal, she does have her own sort of code of ethics, and she's very eager to help.
And that's the thing too. Again, really great point that you said was by that time in the series that you do see that, you quickly just move on. You've
It
just
doesn't
moved it.
phase you, does it? When you
No.
see someone else in someone else's sleeve, you just think, "Well, that's cool. That's just I guess part of the plot now. This is how it all is. This is
Yeah.
normal."
Yeah, and oh my god, yes, totally agree. And it's almost as if like because you've moved past that so quickly, it's almost the same speed as Vernon who moves past that so quickly. Like he just goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, dude, who are you?" It's like it's me, Ava. Yo, Ava? Like and then as like later on in that particular episode, he just clicks. And it's almost as if like they haven't lost time between each other and as audiences and exactly what you said, you just move past it so quickly.
That's right,
Forget the
because
sleeve.
it's so late in this. It's embedded so late in the series. It's not foreign. It doesn't feel weird. It it's normal. It's what this series is about.
Oh my god.
Re-sleeving,
Yeah.
being cross-sleeved.
Oh my god. It's exactly as you said it. I couldn't have put it like oh, that's I totally agree with that. It's late in the series and you just move on so quickly. So yeah, I totally agree with those comments because yeah, that was one of the other things as well that made me like her and Vernon's relationship. It was just as if like I don't need to know, even though they did go into the backstory of it, but it wasn't like spending 20 minutes of it or 10 minutes of it. They talked about it, but then when it clicks, and it's just like, oh. And the actor who played Ava in that skin, God, I gotta do my research. I never get these names right. But like he was a great actor to portray that, and I thought he did a phenomenal job. And then obviously, at the end, she does she gets pardoned, sorry, I believe, and then she gets her birth sleeve back again, and you're like, okay, that's what she looks like, and it's like, okay, she's this formidable, hacker, and he's a military vet, and then Lizzie's in a synthesized body.
Yeah, how wicked's that when Lizzie sort of goes all Matrix in
Pretty
the
much.
in a new synth body.
Pretty much. It's just like Poe uploads her up to a body or a sleeve, sorry, and then she just changes. I was just like, oh man, um, that's that's pretty crazy. So she kept the body based on the story. I think the last point that I also wanted to make in terms of altered carbon is that um, I know I talked about it before about the morality stuff, but
Or lack thereof.
that too. But the other thing I didn't address was the what was it? I just had it. It was I, I, I would say like oh, the what the TV series addresses is a lot of real stuff in the real world where desires, like fulfillment of desires, fulfillment of those dark, disgusting thoughts like murdering, um, which I didn't complete my thought on before, where that guy where Lizzie finds that guy and he's like, "Oh, I didn't order the S&M package." And
Yes.
there's like two dead sleeves in the left there, and I was just like, "Oh my God, it's just creepy." And the TV series was not ashamed to address that people are not what they seem. You could know somebody for such a long time, and then in this case, extreme case, like his sister, Takeshi's sister, who's actually called Ray. Ray, um, she has become twisted and different compared to what he thought of her as a nice girl, and I mean, her goals were commendable, but her journey to fulfill those goals were, yeah, in any normal case you would have lost your humanity, killing, having head in the clouds, creating that establishment for children and resleeving and all that stuff, and fulfilling their desires if they want to kill after they've had sex with them. It's just it's a I think the TV series is very unashamed about exposing human nature and how flawed humans are.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, nothing's taboo.
Again, another really good word. Nothing's taboo. Like, it's almost as if like everything that they do, including Head in the Clouds, what was being offered was just normal, and that's a scary thing.
That's right. And in a on the topic of altered carbon still, are you aware that there's a anime coming out March 19?
About Altered Carbon?
Altered Carbon Resleeved.
No. Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
Dai Sato is the producer. He's the one that has done Cowboy Bebop and Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, that makes sense. Ghost in the Shell right there.
So that'll be interesting. I think it's a Japanese. It's only in Japanese. Probably have to have subtitles. But Netflix is bringing it out. Altered Carbon Resleeved. Put an asterisk on that.
That is really interesting, and that is something that I will be keeping an eye on because I wonder if they may try and drop Takeshi's name in there, but I mean, who knows?
No, they've kept it. The two-line blurb: Takeshi Kovacs must protect a tattooist while investigating the death of a Yakuza boss alongside a no-nonsense CTAP.
Oh man, I gotta like look into this. So when is it supposed to be coming out? Like
March 19, 2020.
March 19. So that's almost like what, a week and a half, 2 weeks after
Yeah,
season two?
yeah, that's right.
Hmm. Okay, because that'll be really soon. Ooh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotta look into it. I'm not typing anything now, but I'll look into it because that's the first I've heard of it. But if it's going to be following Takeshi sort of one of his incidences while he was whatever had happened, then that'll be good to see because he's a pretty likable character. Takeshi, he's not as twisted as his sister though.
Yes.
He's
But
very
before
honorable,
that, well, that's true. That's true.
but
Well,
that's
you,
gonna.
you sort of get that side of him later in the series.
Yeah, but he's very cold in the beginning, though. I just realized, like, he's like really cold. And then it's really interesting. Like, he just buys all the drugs, and like that little
in
rainbow
that
bag.
in that in that rainbow bag, which I didn't get at the start, but then I realized it's obviously got dampening sort of walls. It's not, you can't X-ray it, or you can't. When he opens it up, you can see it's lined with some foil or anti sort of scan material. That's why he carries it with his guns.
Oh, because obviously, yeah, if it was supposed to be scanned, then the original
Yeah,
person who had it was selling drugs and whatever, so it couldn't be scanned. That's probably why they had all those LED lights and stuff. It looked like something
yeah,
out of
that's
a.
right. That's right.
I was just like, what is going on? But now that you mention it, okay. The good eye. I now that I realized what it is, yeah. But what a funny looking bag.
Yeah.
That was a bit of dark humor there. Um,
So season two, man. Season two's out tomorrow. Well,
tomorrow at the time
tomorrow,
of at
tomorrow
the
our time.
tomorrow our
It's American
time and at the time of this
American
recording.
today, I think.
Yeah, and at the time of this recording as well, it'll be should be already out. And obviously with Netflix, they're gonna just release all of it, right, in the one go.
That's right. All 8 episodes. That's right.
Oh, is it 8? So that means it's
Only eight. Yeah.
shorter.
So season one was, yeah. Season
10.
one was 10. Who knows? Maybe Anthony Mackie wasn't as durable as Joel Kinnaman.
I That's yet to see because I mean I like I said I didn't like Kinnaman before because of his sort of past work and there was sort of C grade ish, but him in this role was really good. Um, Now I'm going to have to
So,
try.
are you a fan of Anthony Mackie
It's an interesting
prizing the
choice.
role? Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's a bad choice. I mean, Anthony
Well, no,
Mackie
I
has
haven't
been.
watched it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie's just been killing it lately, like killing it. So, I'd like to see what this different Kovacs is and how Kovacs um is going to deal with now being not in a Gaijin white body, but in a black body. So, how does he cope with that, and what's going to sort of maybe come about with those changes? Because obviously interestingly enough, if we can sort of remember it, whenever he visited the Bancroft residence and there was the party and stuff, not a lot of diversity. Um, I don't know if you noticed that there was not a lot of diversity in terms of
Nah, just a lot of rich white folk.
rich white folk and a couple of Japanese people because the spoiled son was being a douche to them. But that's about it. So again, most of the diversity in terms of black people, or Asian, Japanese, Espanol, whatever, we're all on the ground. So I'd like to see how he sort of deals with that. The character deals with that racially, but at the same time, um, based on one trailer that I've seen, I didn't want to watch anything else to see if there's going to be maybe a little bit more action in this one, because now that I think about it, this 10 episodes, there wasn't really a lot of action. There was spurts of it, but it was very detective sleuthy, trying to find out, what's behind this. I mean, what happened behind the Bancroft incident. So, I've got a feeling they may ramp up the action on the second one. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll have to see. I
Yeah,
mean, it's eight episodes, so a shorter story. So obviously, it's going to be more jammed-packed with story, with action.
no, true. I hope they explain why he gets sleeved into that, but either way, last
Well,
question.
I think
Oh
it's
yeah,
part
yeah.
of the books. I think it's part of the books. I think in the books, in the novels, every mission or every story, every chapter, even I think they started. He has a new sleeve.
Really?
That's just his life. Yeah. So for every quest or mission, he'd be in a new sleeve. So I think I read that somewhere after I watched season one.
That's really intriguing. I'm gonna have to do some research on that one as well. Um, wow, how does an hour and 5 minutes fly by so quickly? Last question then.
No way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, an hour and
Jeez.
five. Holy crap. Last question. Out of five.
Gee, for me, I'd probably have to give it a solid 4.5 out of 5.
Damn
I
it.
think
I was gonna say the same thing.
it didn't yeah, it blew me away in every way. Just dark, gritty, engaging from episode 1 all the way through to episode 10. I just feel the half star is, it built this whole futuristic world and I guess way of life of meths and the commoners. But I wanted to know more about the sister, as you said earlier. It just seemed unfinished. Is she still alive? Well, that's probably a mystery for season 2. But I didn't learn. She just comes in mid series and then she's just boom in your face and then she's gone. Um, I wanted to understand why she was so passionate, sort of, for her, for protecting her. But even just the whole Bancroft sort of angle, it sort of dangled throughout the whole series and then just sort of dropped at the end. It's like, well, let's all wrap it up. You're getting put away for this, for this, for this. The wife all cleaned out, and that's it. When they were the sort of main I
Focus.
guess, main focus throughout the whole series. Yet they just get sort of swept up at the end. Otherwise, just, yeah, visually stunning soundtrack. There's not a lot of color, which is good. It's very dark. I enjoyed it from all 10 episodes.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing in terms of the rating 4.5 stars. What you said is actually really interesting in terms of the sister as well. It wasn't my reasoning for the half star, but I can definitely understand what you were saying, because it feels as if like it was kind of like the Witcher game. He gets Takeshi Kovacs gets pulled into many different side quests, and then one
Yeah,
episode he's, you know what I mean, like one episode that he's focused on the actual mission, which is Bancroft, and then he gets pulled into something else, and then something else happens, and then at the very end, it's sort of just all spun up into this part where, yeah, with the wife, like I would never have deduced that she was the one that whooped Lizzie's ass, and then would never have deduced that Lizzie was pregnant. And
no,
then,
yes, true. I forget. Yeah, that was just another bombshell that just sort of
exactly, it's
came
a
out of nowhere.
bombshell. Exactly, I agree. It was like a bombshell that just sort of just like, whoa, wait, did you pick up any evidence of this, Takeshi
Did they even
detective?
need to throw that in there? Probably not, but they just really just layered it right with all these surprises
And
right
they
up to the last episode.
Yeah, and they were very like convenient surprises. It's just like, oh, okay, so that's why he wanted to, do this, or he was remorseful about this, and he never would think that he was this kind of man. So I could totally understand what you were saying there because yeah, it felt um I hate using the word, but I do it a lot of the times, like with anime that I watch. Endings can it felt rushed, I think, with that last part.
Yeah, well, don't forget, any book adaptation into a series or to a movie, it's hard, right? I guess
Hmm.
how far do you go? Do you closely adapt to the story word for word, letter for letter, you could have 20 episodes. You could have a very different outtake. The story could not be maybe understood in a TV or captured by the audience the same way.
Yeah.
So look, I'm sure whilst there were a lot of things they probably kept, I'm hoping the plot was something out of the book, but I'm sure a lot of the character interactions and dynamics would have been changed or altered to sort of suit the production, just to make things a little bit easier to follow, to tidy up.
Yeah, and actually that goes to my reasoning for the half star. I think definitely this is an underrated TV series.
Oh,
Um,
no doubt.
and it shows a lot of what the world could be in the future, and also highlights what the world is now in terms of human nature. But my half star would go to the reason why it's missing that half star and not being perfect. It's definitely a thinking TV series. When I say thinking TV series, it's definitely one that you want to have full focus on, not to be distracted. And that's going to say like for other TV series where it's just like, oh yeah, but you want to be focused on all of it all the time. True. But in terms of picking the lesser of or how they used to say like picking the lesser of two evils, this one I think is really more of a one where um it's kind of like a hard-hitting movie, but pressed out into like 10 episodes, where if you see like a really hard-hitting or a thought-provoking movie, and you sort of just either sit there after like 5 minutes into the credits, or you're driving home still thinking about it. That's the kind of series that this would leave on a person who's fully focused on it, I think. It's definitely not one that you'd be like, say, for example, like sitcoms, like laughing sitcom, like, comedy sitcoms, or like TV series like Burn Notice. It's Burn Notice is like kind of casual. You remember seeing those TV series?
Vaguely, vaguely. But
Uh,
I
you know
guess
what
I
I mean?
can. Yeah, it's hard. You're right. I mean, I binged it like yourself in 2 days. I didn't get to do it in one day, in two
Damn.
days. But it can. I can see where some viewers might feel that the series is a bit convoluted. It probably digresses, as you said earlier. It feels like you're moving from one part to another part so quickly without really connecting what just happened. Um, it's almost like a murder mystery at the end. It's like you
Yeah.
want to find out. You want to find out who did it, and
Who
then
done
with
it?
the extra, yeah, who done it? With the extra bombshell of, oh, actually, I was pregnant with your kid. Like what?
When did that happen? But yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, that's kind of what I think those half star is. I think it's definitely one that has to be 100% focused, and then when you understand it, it's really thought provoking, like unbelievably thought provoking. I don't know if I'll watch it anytime soon in terms of like a repeat, but I think it'll be one good to revisit once in a while. But definitely really excited about number
definitely.
two.
Yeah, to sum it up, definitely a cyberpunk sort of sci-fi. Gritty, lots of twists, just awesome sort of imagery um, and sort of dark colors. Unreal.
Dark colors, uh, yeah, the imagery sort of what is it? How would I call it? A Blade Runner noir, but
Yeah, Blade Runner, Matrix, as you mentioned. Yeah,
dude, man, unashamed about the human nature and unashamed about those sex scenes, yo. Damn.
yeah. You definitely have to leave your sort of yeah.
Inhibitions?
It was yeah, that, and I guess just open mind. Don't yeah, yeah. Given that it's very graphic. It's very raw.
Yeah, it's raw. Like damn raw.
Like nothing's you know too prude to be in here.
That's the thing
Very,
too.
very confronting. Very confronting.
Yep, that's it. I should have said that word. Very confronting, but at the same time, in this world, in this series, it's just normal.
That's right.
Oh boy, it's way too normal.